Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Hi, welcome back to today's session on recruitment. We will discuss this important part of HRM from the perspective of non-HR managers. We will discuss what difference is made by effective recruiting. Further, we will study why non-HR managers need to be familiar with recruitment and what makes recruiting a challenge. Lastly, we will discuss how to organize recruitment process. We begin by discussing the meaning of recruitment. Dessler defines recruitment as a process of finding or attracting applicants for the employer's open positions. That means that all the subsequent processes of people management will be automatically less effective if the process of recruitment is misdirected. Consider the reasons why effective recruitment is important. Last week, one of the topmost managers at a software services company told me that they have more openings for a position within their technical operations than the number of applications they attract. If that is the case, there is little choice involved. But if they released an advertisement in a top-selling local daily for a walk-in interview, it is possible that some 40-50 people might walk in. As NDTV reported on 4th September in 2018, in one of the states in India, 62 posts of peons attracted 93,000 applications, including some holding doctoral degrees. It is not just one-off incident with the recruitment in government organizations. Corporate recruiters also face difficulty in finding candidates whose knowledge, skills and attitude have a good fit with the requirements of the job. Effective recruitment helps the managers select such employees with a good fit by building the right kind of pool of potential candidates. Remember, recruitment is not selection. Recruitment, as the definition says, is about creating a pool of potential job candidates by communicating the job requirements in a way that candidates with potentially better fit with the job requirement are attracted and motivated to offer their candidature for selection. Recruitment in large firms is usually centralized. That way, the recruiting resources, network and experience available with the central or corporate office can be leveraged. On the other hand, recruitment at the department or business unit level can be more flexible and customized. For jobs demanding relatively low level of skills, recruitment may not present a greater challenge to the department or unit manager, who can perhaps achieve the same recruitment efficacy at lower cost. The manager needs to take a call on what will be the most beneficial way to recruit. For small organizations or subunits of an organization, it would be the promoter or the head of the subunit that will be recruiting. You might be thinking about the relative ease of recruiting effort once the job analysis has informed the development of job descriptions and job specifications. But wait, not all is sorted out once JDs are drafted. There are sources of recruitment to select from. One way to categorize recruitment is by considering whether it would be centralized or decentralized. Whether decentralized or not, the question a recruiter asks at the start of recruitment process is from where to attract for the job opening the pool of potential candidates who have a good fit between their knowledge, skills and attitude and the requirements of the job. Well, to begin with, the answer is either from within the organization or from outside. Of course, no one stops you from using both the sources at once. If the candidates are attracted from within the organization, it is an internal source of recruitment. Managers often believe that internal sources, in other words, current employees, are often the best choice for recruitment. It is a rule in many organizations to first give an opportunity to current employees to apply for job openings. Hiring from within ideally relies on the job posting and the firm's skill inventories. Job posting means publicizing the open job to employees. These postings list the job's attributes like qualifications, supervisor to whom to report, work schedule and pay rate. Qualifications skill banks also play a role. For example, the database may reveal persons who have a potential for further training or who have the right background for the open job. Such people may be contacted directly, or there may be a job announcement through the intranet, internal notice or bulletin boards. Recruiting from internal sources has its own pros and cons. The first advantage of internal recruitment is that a candidate's competencies, the level of their commitment, their styles are already known. They may also get to work in their new jobs after lesser orientation and onboarding effort. Their morale may rise if employees get the job openings they prefer within the organization. Many employees may actually prefer an internal change over seeking a job with another organization. However, internal recruitment has its limitations. Internal recruitment targets current employees who may not bring fresh thinking or new ideas at work since they are already conditioned by their experience. Their bias, their likes and dislikes from the previous job may continue in the second job. Sometimes the internal recruits get caught in the crossfire between the current and new boss when the current boss refuses to release a candidate. Employees who apply for jobs and don't get them may become discontented. Telling them why you rejected them and what remedial actions they might take is crucial. External sources of candidates are opening up more than ever before, thanks to the internet. Thus, one more way to categorize the sources of recruitment might be online and offline, or traditional and the modern. Do remember that traditional does not mean outmoded. We will discuss some traditional or offline sources of recruitment and then move on to review more modern or online sources which have been made possible by the internet. You will find that there are several sources of recruitment which can be both online and offline. A major traditional source of external recruitment is by advertising in the print media such as newspaper and magazines and other periodicals, many of which may be targeting a specific group of readers. For example, Business India is more likely to be read by a business professional than a primary school teacher. Several newspapers have dedicated supplement which is published once a week and contains job advertisements. For example, the Times of India has its weekly edition called Ascent. To use the job advertisements in the print media successfully, employers should choose the advertising medium carefully and draft the text of their advertisement also equally carefully. The relative suitability of the local paper, its national edition or a trade specific magazine depends on the positions for which you are recruiting. For example, the local newspaper is often a good source for jobs which require the skills that local candidates may easily possess. If the job requires specialized skills and wider exposure which the recruiter believes cannot be possessed by local candidates, then media with wider circulation may be considered. Similar is the consideration for choosing trade-specific periodical. For example, if recruiting for furniture finishers, you would probably want to advertise in places with many furniture manufacturers or magazines read by professionals in the furniture making industry. The idea, as the definition of recruitment suggested, is to target your ads where they will reach your most suitable prospective job candidates. Many companies post their vacancies on their own websites. They also post their requirements on employment portals such as Naukri.com and other similar sites which are watched by job seekers. These days, social networking sites such as Facebook and LinkedIn also play an important part. We will return to these online media after discussing the offline ones. Next, we discuss the drafting of an advertisement. Experienced advertisers use the principle AIDA, which is an acronym of attention, interest, desire, and action as a guide to construct ads. You would agree that an advertisement should attract the reader's attention, otherwise they may not read the contents. Factors such as size, fonts, layout of the text, positioning of the advertisement are important in attracting the attention. Next is developing the reader's interest in what is presented. The way the advertisement is written may pique the interest of reader through curiosity. Reader's desire may be created by highlighting how the job may match the prospective candidate's own motivation. If the job involves traveling, mentioning it in a stimulating way encourages people who love to travel and at the same time would filter those who do not wish to. Finally, the ad should prompt, enable and facilitate the reader's action. Through building urgency, presenting deadline, providing the contact details and specifying the required contents of the response are some examples of this fourth and the last principle. Now we move on to another source. Job fairs are organized when a large number of employers are targeting at more or less uniform pool of candidates in a large number. For example, a local government may organize a job fair for its local undergraduates by inviting the local companies to set up booths and release information on their job openings when job seekers visit the booth. While we are here, it should also be mentioned that with the help of internet, the job fairs now can also be virtual. For example, the magazine PR Week organized such a fair for about a dozen public relations employers. At a virtual job fair, online visitors see a very similar setup to a regular job fair. They can visit booths, leave resumes and business cards, participate in live chats and get contact information from recruiters, HR managers and even hiring managers. There is undergraduate college or campus recruiting. An employer's representatives visit college campuses to pre-screen applicants and create an application pool from the graduating class. These days, Tata Consultancy Services or TCS has been active in this area. They invite the students to a skill-based training program in software and identify students who may then be recruited based on their learning. This is also an important source of management trainees and professional and technical employees. The campus recruiters usually assess communication skills and academic record, experience and interpersonal skills. They may test the students using their own tools as well. Building close ties with a college's career center can help employers achieve their recruitment goals. Recruiters also invite the pools of potential candidates, for example, final year students, to on-site plant or industrial visit. The visit may start with briefing about the company, its management, products and services and such. Although visits may rarely result straight into selection process, they are a great way to showcase the organization's activities and capabilities. Interested candidates may then seek out opportunities for work, and interaction with them during the visit may also provide information about the visiting candidate to the accompanying manager. Internships are one more source of direct recruitment. Many college students first start their work as an intern of a company. Some of the interns are offered regular jobs at the end of internships. Typically, internships are offered through colleges. Internships are a source of learning for the students who have an opportunity to apply their learning to the job requirement. Interns are usually given project-based assignment, making supervision and appraisal of their work easier. Interns are usually paid stipend or a lump sum fees for their work. Interns benefit by this arrangement as they may discover their career likes and dislikes. On the other hand, employers can use the interns to make useful contributions while evaluating them as possible full-time employees. A possible limitation of internships may be a mismatch of interest on the two sides, managers not having sufficient time to guide and familiarize the interns, and unrealistic expectations about what an intern can accomplish within short tenure. When you consider the sources of recruitment which we will present next, you will realize that all of the previous sources are the ones where recruiter is recruiting directly through contacting the source of potential employees. There are also ways in which the recruiter contacts an intermediate party, which in turn recruits the potential job candidates. Thus, we have a third classification of recruitment sources, direct and indirect. We have so far discussed the direct sources. Now we present the indirect ones. Employee referrals are considered one of the most productive recruiting strategies. These generate a pool of potential job candidates who have been recommended by current employees. Several management consultancy firms recruit this way. It is possible that the referrals would lead to more hires and a higher yield ratio, which is obtained by dividing the number of hires by the number of applicants. Current employees would usually provide accurate information about the job applicants they are referring, since they are putting their own reputations on the line. The new employees may also come with a more realistic picture of what the firm is like. The cautions involved in using this source of recruitment are not tough to imagine. If morale is low, it should be addressed before asking for referrals. Moreover, if you don't hire someone, explain to your employee or referrer why you did not hire his or her candidate. Finally, relying on referrals might be discriminatory. Next, we discuss employment agencies as a source of indirect recruitment. There are three main types of employment agencies who, for fees, generate a pool of potential candidates for the recruiter. One is employment agencies and the bureaus operated by the central, state or local governments. Second is agencies associated with non-profit organizations. And third is privately owned agencies. A recruiter should be aware that the employment agency's pooling and screening may not always be effective. Some agencies specialize in recruitment of non-permanent candidates. Employers sometimes supplement their on-roll permanent workforce by hiring temporary, ad hoc, casual or contractual workers or employees through the agencies specializing in such recruitment. This contingent workforce is significant and growing because of its cost effectiveness. The reasons why recruiters resort to such employees include insufficient justification for full-time or permanent workload, requirement of workforce for specific period or project, unwillingness to pay employee benefits, and ready availability of people who are willing to work on contingent basis. The contingent workforce is not limited to clerical or maintenance staff. It includes thousands of engineering, science or management support occupations. Many firms also use temporary hiring to give prospective employees a trial run before hiring them as regular employees. On-demand recruiting services is the next source of recruitment we are going to discuss. On-demand recruiting services provide short-term specialized recruiting assistance to support specific projects without the expense of retaining traditional search firms. They are recruiters who are paid by the hour or project instead of a percentage fee. Next are executive recruiters. Executive recruiters, also known as headhunters, are particular employment agencies employers retain to seek out top management talent for their clients. The percentage of your firm's positions filled by these services might be very small. However, these jobs include key executives and traditional positions. Executive recruiters, with their large network of relationships, help. The challenging part of recruiting has always been finding potential candidates, say a sales manager with experience in chemical engineered products. You can easily guess the pros and cons of using an executive recruiter. Recruiters do help search and narrow down the pool of candidates in senior positions, bring a lot to the table. They have many contacts and are especially adept at finding qualified, employed candidates who may not be actively looking to change the jobs. They can keep the matters confidential until late into the search process. The recruiter's fee might turn out to be small when you compare it to the executive time saved. The big issue is how to ensure that the recruiter accurately understands the recruiter's needs and then delivers appropriate candidates. Some agencies may push a candidate they have rather than finding the one who is best suited to the job. In the online contents area, we present several guidelines that help select a recruitment agency. Online recruitment can use social media as well. According to Global Web Index, the average internet user has more than 5 social media accounts. Social media sourcing involves using social networks to identify, attract, engage and hire potential candidates for future roles and engage passive candidates who haven't applied for current openings. Sites like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter and a handful of others offer recruiters a tremendous opportunity to connect with candidates, many of whom would have never been found through traditional sources. So now we face a question of improving online recruiting effectiveness. Planning your online recruiting effort is crucial. Most of the standard and poor index companies place employment information one click away from their home pages. Applicants can submit their resumes online at almost all of the Fortune 500 firms' websites. However, it was found in a survey that although it is easy to channel the traffic of potential candidates to the job openings page, fewer candidates actually complete their online applications. The reasons provided by them were job openings lacked relevant information such as job descriptions. It was often difficult to format resumes and post them in the form required. Many respondents expressed concerns about the privacy of their information. Poor website design often made it difficult to use. Slow feedback from the employers regarding follow-up responses and receiving online applications was annoying. With this, we come to the end of the first part of recruitment. In summary, we saw that recruitment process involves attracting and building a pool of potential candidates for the job openings and have candidates complete application forms. Effective recruiting is essential in obtaining potential job candidates who may have a better fit between the competencies and the job requirement. Ineffective recruitment results in ineffective selection and continues to shadow the effectiveness of subsequent HR processes. We also discussed centralized and decentralized recruitment. Further, we discussed online and offline, direct and indirect sources of recruitment and the merits and limitations of these sources. We will see you soon in the next session of this course. Until then, it is goodbye. Thank you.